Welcome back to this quiet corner of the internet tonight. I want to have a very honest and very long conversation about the reality of building wealth from zero. I am 26 years old and I recently looked at my accounts and realized I had crossed the 100,000 USD mark. It did not feel like a movie scene and there was no sudden rush of adrenaline when the numbers clicked over. In fact, it felt remarkably quiet because the process that got me here was incredibly boring. I think we live in a culture that is obsessed with the outcome but completely allergic to the process. We see the screenshots of massive gains and the stories of overnight millionaires. But we rarely talk about the Tuesday afternoon when you choose to put money into an index fund instead of buying a new pair of shoes. I want to walk you through my exact paycheck breakdown because transparency is the only way to demystify the myth of the secret formula. For the sake of our discussion, we are going to use 2,500 USD as the base for a single paycheck. This is a real number for me, and it represents the starting point of my defense. I call it defense because earning money is only half the battle, and keeping it is where the real skill begins. The first move I make with every single dollar that enters my life is a 20% allocation to my 401k. That is 500 USD gone before I even have the chance to think about spending it. I used to think that retirement accounts were a trap for people who did not know how to trade aggressively. I thought I was a genius who could outsmart the market and find the next big thing before everyone else did. It turns out I was just experiencing the common hallucination of a beginner who got lucky once. Now I understand that the 401k is the most efficient wealth-building machine ever created for the average person. If your employer offers a match, you are receiving a guaranteed 100% return on your investment. You cannot find that anywhere else in the world without taking massive risks. I take control of my 401k by manually selecting my funds because I want to avoid the high fees and the overly conservative nature of target date funds. I want my money to be aggressive in its growth but conservative in its logic. Once that 20% is secured, I turn my attention to the next 10%, which goes into my investment bucket for most people. This should be a Roth IRA because the concept of tax-free growth is the closest thing we have to a financial superpower. Because I have already reached the 7,500 USD limit for my Roth IRA in 2026. This money now goes into my taxable brokerage account that is 250 USD every 2 weeks directed into the global economy. I do not check the price of these funds every day or even every month. I treat this money as if it has been deleted from my current life and sent to my future self. There is a specific kind of peace that comes from knowing you own a small piece of the most productive companies on earth. It removes the need to gamble because you have already decided to win slowly. Next, we have to talk about my crypto allocation, which is exactly 6% of my paycheck. This translates to 150 USD every paycheck. Being automatically converted into Bitcoin. I know this is where the conversation usually gets loud and emotional, but I want to stay calm and look at the math. I am not buying Bitcoin because I think it will double by next Tuesday. I am buying it because I believe it represents a long-term hedge against the traditional financial system over the next 30 years. If Bitcoin goes to zero tomorrow, I have lost 6% of my income, which is manageable. I am perfectly comfortable with that risk because the upside is mathematically significant if the thesis holds true. I see people making much riskier bets with their time and their health every single day. At least this way, I am participating in a global experiment with a fixed and known cost. If we stop and look at the numbers right now, 36% of my paycheck is already working for me. Then we have the savings allocation, which is only 50 USD per Pascal Y check. I can already hear the confusion because 50 USD sounds like nothing for someone trying to be financially responsible. But this is where context matters more than raw percentages. I spent the first few years of my career being an absolute fanatic about saving cash. I was so afraid of the world that I sat on a mountain of cash while the market grew without me. Eventually, I realized that cash is a melting ice cube and I needed to put it to work today. I have 20,000 USD in a high-yield savings account, which covers my expenses for over a year. Since my floor is secure, I no longer need to hoard cash. I would rather have my money buying assets than sitting in a digital vault losing value to inflation. If you do not have an emergency fund yet, please ignore my 50 USD rule and make that your only priority until you can sleep through a recession. Now we are left with the remaining 62% of the paycheck to handle the reality of living. My fixed costs are designed to be as invisible as possible. I pay 1,400 USD for rent and utilities. I have a few small subscriptions like ChatGPT for my work and Spotify because I value my focus. I believe that ads are a tax on your attention and I would rather pay the subscription than have my thoughts interrupted. Whatever is left over after these bills goes directly toward my goals. I have no credit card debt and no personal loans because those are the chains that keep people in jobs they hate. When you do not owe anyone anything, your overhead for existence drops and your freedom increases exponentially. I am lucky to have a partner who helps manage our daily living expenses like groceries. Beyond that, I simply do not have expensive tastes or a need for external validation through objects. I enjoy playing video games, I enjoy making these videos, and I enjoy reading. I do not go out drinking and I do not have expensive habits. If you live on half of what you make, you are effectively buying your time back. That is the math of the inevitable. It is not about being a monk or suffering through life. It is about realizing that every dollar you spend today is a piece of your future freedom. Reaching my first 100,000 USD did not change my life, but it changed my mind. It proved to me that the boring path is the only one that actually leads somewhere worth going. I want us to shift gears for a second and talk about the bigger picture of our economy. I was recently reading about the public pension systems across America. It is a topic that sounds incredibly dry, but it is a perfect example of what happens when the math is ignored for too long. In the United States, we have over 13 million active public workers and 11 million retirees on public pensions. That ratio is almost 1-to-1, which is a massive red flag for any financial system. The combined pension assets in the US are about 6.7 trillion USD, but there is an additional 1.5 trillion USD in promise payments that are currently unfunded. Most states are only about 80% funded, which means for every $5 they owe, they only have 4. This is the result of years of overpromising and underinvesting. It is the same mistake individuals make when they prioritize current consumption over future stability. The interesting thing is that despite a decade of record market performance, these funding statuses have only improved slightly. If you cannot become solvent during a historic bull market, what happens when the market goes sideways? This is a macro version of the same sequence of returns risk that an individual retiree faces. If the markets drop early in your retirement and you are forced to sell, the damage can be permanent. That is why we talk about the bucket strategy. Bucket 1 for safety, bucket 2 for a bridge, and bucket 3 for long-term growth. This structure protects you from the very thing that is currently hurting state pension funds. By keeping 5 to 8 years of spending in bucket 1, you never have to sell your stocks during a downturn. You give bucket 3 the 17 years it needs to compound and recover from any volatility. Even if you hit a year like 1973, where the market dropped 36% in the first 2 years, your lifestyle would not change. If you left that money alone for 17 years, history shows it would have grown significantly. This is why I choose boring math over viral gains. The world wants to sell you complexity and fear because those things are profitable for the seller. But the truth is almost always simple and a little bit dull. Save more than you spend, invest in the whole haystack, and give it enough time to grow. I am 26, and I have a long way to go until I reach my ultimate goals. But I am not worried about the destination because I trust the system. I want you to look at your own numbers tonight, not with judgment, but with curiosity. Are you playing a game of luck, or are you playing a game of math? The market will always have its ups and downs, but your savings rate is the only thing you truly control. I hope this breakdown gives you some clarity, or at least some peace of mind. You do not need to be a genius to build wealth. You just need to be consistent. I think about the concept of time quite often because it is the only currency we cannot print more of. When I look at my investment accounts, I do not see a pile of money. I see a pile of days. I see days where I do not have to report to a boss or answer an email. I see days where I can choose to wake up and do exactly what I want. That is the true definition of a rich life. It has nothing to do with the brand of your watch and everything to do with the control of your schedule. If you are starting today with zero, do not feel discouraged by the size of the mountain. The math works for everyone regardless of where you start. Compound interest does not care about your background or your education. It only cares about how much time you give it to work its magic. Start with $5 or $50 or $500. Just start and do not stop. The person you will be in 10 years will thank you for the boredom you endured today. I promise you that the view from the top is much better when you know you earned every step. The philosophy of the 3 buckets is essentially an exercise in humility. It is admitting that we do not know what the market will do tomorrow or next year. By admitting our ignorance, we create a plan that survives any outcome. If the market goes up, bucket 3 grows and we are happy. If the market goes down, bucket 1 keeps us fed and we are still happy. Most people lose because they try to be right all the time. I win because I have a system that works even when I am wrong. I want you to experience that same sense of security. It is not a luxury reserved for the ultra-wealthy. It is a logical framework available to anyone with a paycheck and a little bit of patience. Don't let the complexity of the financial industry intimidate you. They want you to feel small so you will pay them to manage your fear. But once you understand the buckets, the fear disappears. You realize that you are the captain of your ship, and the math is your compass. I am going to keep sharing these thoughts because I believe we all deserve to live without that weight on our shoulders. We are in this together. It is funny how our goals change as we grow. When I first started, I just wanted to see a big number in my bank account. Now that I have hit that first major milestone, I realize the number is just a marker. The real reward is the discipline I had to build to get there. I had to learn how to say no to my own impulses. I had to learn how to wait while everyone else was moving fast. Those internal changes are much more valuable than the 100,000 USD. Because if I lost all the money tomorrow, I would still have the discipline to go get it back. That is the real secret of the first 100,000. It proves to you that you have what it takes to survive the long game. If you are currently in the middle of the grind, do not give up. The middle is the hardest part because you are far from the start, but the end is not yet in sight. Just keep planting those seeds. The forest is coming. I can promise you that I often think about the stories we tell ourselves about money. We tell ourselves that we need a certain amount to be happy. or a certain car to be respected, but those stories are written by people who want us to keep working for them. When you write your own story, you might find that you need far less than you thought. You might find that freedom is much cheaper than status. And once you realize that, the whole game changes. You stop racing against others and start racing against your own previous version. That is the only race worth winning. I hope you find your own version of enough. I hope you find the peace that comes from knowing your future is secure. It is a long road, but it is a good one. Thank you for spending this time with me. I appreciate your presence more than I can say. The silence of the night is a good time to audit your life. Look at where your money went this month. Did it go toward building your dream or someone else? As there is no right or wrong answer. Only the reality of your choices. If you do not like the direction you are heading, you can change it tonight. You do not need a new year or a new month to start. You just need a new decision. I am 26, and I am still making new decisions every day. I am still learning and still growing. Let us keep doing it together. The math is on our side. The time is on our side. Everything else is just noise. I want to talk briefly about the concept of sequence of returns risk again because it is so vital. Imagine two people retiring with the same amount of money and the same average market return. Person A hits a bull market in their first 5 years. Person B hits a bear market in their first 5 years. Even if the average return over 30 years is the same, person B might run out of money while person A becomes a multi-millionaire. This is why Bucket 1 exists. It is your insurance policy against the bad luck of the market cycle. By having that cash buffer, you turn a potentially catastrophic event into a minor inconvenience. This is what I mean by the math of the inevitable. We plan for the worst so we can enjoy the best. It is the ultimate defensive play that allows for the ultimate offensive growth. Don T, leave your retirement to chance. Use the buckets. It is the smartest thing I have ever learned. One of the most counterintuitive things about wealth is that it often requires you to do nothing. Once the system is set up, the best thing you can do is go for a walk or read a book. The more you fiddle with your investments, the more you introduce human error. The market is a machine that transfers money from the impatient to the patient. Be the patient one. Let the world chase the latest trends while you stay anchored in the truth. The 100,000 USD milestone taught me that the days when I did nothing were the days when I made the most progress. The money grew while I was sleeping, while I was working, while I was living. That is the beauty of the system. It works even when you are not. So trust your plan, trust the math, and trust yourself. You have got this. As I wrap this up, I want to remind you that money is a tool, not a master. It is there to serve your life, not the other way around. Don't get so caught up in the numbers that you forget to live. Use the math to create the space you need to be the person you want to be. That is the whole point of this channel and this journey. Thank you for listening to this long-form talk. It means a lot to me to have this platform to share these ideas. I will see you all very soon in the next video. Until then, stay grounded and keep moving forward. I am looking at my screen and seeing the time pass. It is almost time for me to sign off, but I want to say one last thing about the 2 million USD goal we discussed. It sounds like a huge number, but when you break it down into 194,000 USD spread across 3 buckets, it becomes a target, and targets are much easier to hit than vague dreams. Calculate your own target tonight. Know your number. Once you know it, the fear starts to fade. You have a destination and you have a map. Now you just have to drive. Safe travels on your financial journey. I am glad to be a small part of it. Good night. I was thinking about the landscapers mentioned in that retirement video. It is a reminder that even when we are planning for the next 30 years, life is happening right now. The dog is barking, the landscapers are working, the world is moving. Don't wait for retirement to be happy. Use your system to create a life you do not need to escape from. The 100,000 USD I saved gave me the confidence to enjoy my 20s more, not less. Because I am not worried about the future. I can be fully present in the now. That is the ultimate dividend of financial discipline. Everything we have talked about tonight leads back to one word: freedom. Not the freedom to do nothing, but the freedom to do what matters. I hope you find that freedom sooner than you think. The buckets are waiting for you. The math is waiting for you. Take that first step tonight. You will not regret it. Good night, everyone. I will see you in the next one. Peace. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will catch you guys in the next one. See you. Goodbye for now. The math of the inevitable. Always the long game, always the boring path, always the truth. I hope this serves you well. Let us build something real. No shortcuts, no hype, just discipline. The first 100,000 is just the beginning. It is the hardest part. Once you cross it, the wind is at your back. The math takes over, the compounding accelerates. You just have to stay in the seat. Don't let the noise pull you out. The world is full of distractions, but you have a plan. You have a system, you have the buckets, and you have the time. That is a powerful combination. Use it wisely. I am cheering for you every single step of the way. Because I know how it feels, I know the doubt, I know the pressure to spend, I know the fear of missing out, but I also know the peace of having 100,000 USD. And I want you to feel that too. It is a quiet kind of power. It is a gentle kind of security. It is the freedom to breathe, so keep going. The boring path is the only one that works. I will talk to you soon. Stay clear, stay focused, and stay patient. The math will do the rest. I am signing off now, wishing you nothing but the best. Until next time, peace. I am thinking about the people who started with me. Many of them gave up when the market went down. Many of them sold everything to buy something they did not need. But here I am, and here you are. We are the ones who stayed. We are the ones who believed in the math. And that makes all the difference. Character is built in the boring moments. Character is built when nobody is watching. It is the decision to save 500 USD instead of spending it. It is the decision to keep your old car. It is the decision to keep learning. Those are the things that make a millionaire. Not the luck, but the character. I am proud of you for being here. I am proud of you for caring about your future. The 100,000 USD is just the score. The character is the game, and you are winning. Good night. See you in the next video. Peace. The road ahead is long, but we have a map. We have the historical data. We have the mathematical models. We have the wisdom of those who came before us. We are not walking in the dark. We are walking in the light of truth, and that is a very good place to be. Don't let the volatility of the present blind you to the stability of the future. The market is a reflection of human emotion, but the math is a reflection of reality. Anchor yourself in the reality, and you will never be lost. I am truly grateful for this conversation. I am truly grateful for your attention. It is a rare thing in this world. I do not take it for granted. I will keep sharing my journey. I will keep being transparent. I will keep showing you the numbers because we are in this together. One paycheck at a time, one bucket at a time, one step at a time. The math of the inevitable. It is a beautiful thing. I will see you soon. Peace. It is 2026, and the world is changing fast, but the principles of finance have not changed in 100 years. The tools are different, the technology is different, but the math of compounding remains the same. The need for discipline remains the same. The importance of time remains the same. Don't get distracted by the shiny new things. Focus on the old boring things that actually work. That is how you win. That is how I reached 100,000 USD at 26. And that is how you will reach your goals too. The noise will fade, but the math will endure. Stay steady, stay calm, and stay the course. I am done now. I am going to rest. I suggest you do the same. Sleep well. Knowing your plan is in place. Sleep well, knowing your future is being built. Good night. Peace. I am just checking the transcript one last time. It looks good. It sounds like me. It feels honest. I hope it resonates with you. I hope it sparks something in you. A sense of hope, a sense of control. A sense of peace. That is my only goal here, to show you that it is possible and that it is worth it. The 100,000 USD is just a number, but the freedom it represents is priceless. Go get your freedom. I will see you on the other side. Peace. One more thought on the buckets. The bridge bucket is the one that most people forget. They have a safety net and they have long-term stocks, but they do not have that middle ground. That is where the 10% allocation comes in. It fills the gap, it provides the flexibility, it gives you the option to retire early if you want to. It is the bridge to your new life. Make sure you are building that bridge. Just jump from today to 30 years from now. Plan for the transition. The math works for the transition too. Okay, now I am definitely leaving. Thank you, peace. The long-form content is where the real value is. I know the world loves shorts and quick tips, but you cannot explain a lifetime of wealth in 60 seconds. It takes time, it takes depth, it takes a long talk on a quiet night. I am glad you stayed for the whole thing. It shows me that you are serious. It shows me that you have the patience to succeed. You are the top 1%. Not because of your bank account, but because of your attention span. That is your secret weapon. Use it. Good night.